everyone, Andrew here, and welcome to today's video, which is going to be all about Animal Crossing. It is incredible to believe that we are only days away from the release of New Horizons for the Switch now, and I thought it would be fun to have a look back at just where Animal Crossing began. Of course, this right here, Animal Crossing for the GameCube, is our introduction to Animal Crossing in the West, but its origins in Japan are quite different from what we know over here. Actually, it began on the Nintendo 64 as Doubutsu no Mori, translated as Animal Forest, or Forest of Animals, of course localized as Animal Crossing, but we never saw the Nintendo 64 release, so I thought it would be a lot of fun to unbox this, see just what you would have bought if you got the original release of Animal Crossing in Japan back in the day. This being released in 2001, it was updated for the GameCube, taking advantage of all the sorts of built-in clocks and other features you could expect to see on the GameCube, and that was released in 2002, and that was the also a translation of that we got. And then in 2003 in Japan, they even got another update which actually had e-reader compatibility, that GameCube device where you swiped cards, and this is a bundle right here that actually included an e-reader, so you could just out of the box take advantage of all the new features that this 2003 version introduced. So I thought we would open up the 2001 and 2003 Japanese releases of this classic game and see just what is inside. So starting out here, we have the Nintendo 64 version of Doubutsu no Mori. And as you can see, there's definitely kind of a postcard or postal theme going on here, where it feels like one of the main things they really tried to emphasize with the original Doubutsu no Mori is the fact that you can write letters and share them with others, even categorizing it as a communication game. How many other games would you find that have the genre communication game? And sort of what you can consider a slogan over here is 2 people is better than 1, 4 is better than 2, and many is better than 4. So definitely emphasizing that whole, sharing your experience with others, growing your village, and just, the fact that Animal Crossing has always been a game about community building. So, right from the beginning, that's definitely something that they were, advertising. Also, the Nintendo 64 version actually includes a controller pack, a memory card for the Nintendo 64 that goes into the back of the controller, also stating that it includes some bonus data on it as well, which you can use. Making, I guess, this a little bit more special than just if you were to buy your average Nintendo 64 memory card. On the back here, we get a whole bunch more information, definitely advertises all the different sorts of things like events and letter sending and building your own room that you can do inside of Animal Crossing. And then at the top here it says, what should we do today? Perhaps send a letter to someone. Again, emphasizing that whole letter component of the game, which you don't really see too much about in Animal Crossing anymore. It's really more about building the community and not sharing letters with your friends. So what you could do is you could write a letter, save it to the controller pack, and then perhaps take it to a friend's house or play a different file and put that controller pack in, and then they could receive the letter and whatever was attached along with it. But overall, just a very nice box, very simple. And the yellow design, very nice all around. Lots of holes, different ways you have to flip it here to really get the whole experience. And the bottom, nothing on the bottom. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna open this up very nicely. I'm actually impressed with how nice of a shape this box has been kept, considering, pretty old game now, almost 20 years old. It's hard to believe that Animal Crossing has been around for that long. The GameCube was definitely the era when a lot of series that had previously been Japan exclusive made their way over to the West. Fire Emblem being another one, so I think it's definitely great. Then we've gotten our hands on some of these awesome series. So lots of different, paperwork we're gonna have a look at here. But here is kind of, the main piece. We have our game and the included memory card. Unfortunately, I do not believe that this is the original memory card that it would have been included with. And it also notes in some of the paperwork that we're about to look at that once the data that was the special data that was included with the memory card has been downloaded to a file, it is actually removed from the memory card. So it's not like it's a special memory card that can be used as many times as you want to get those kind of special goodies that we'll, again, read about in a few minutes. So, unfortunately, there's probably not too many memory cards left that have that special data on them. So here we have the original Doubutsu no Mori Japanese cartridge. A spot down here to write your name so you know whose cartridge it is. Pokemon Stadium being another game that kind of had a space like that. And, of course, I guess one thing some people may not know is that Japanese Nintendo 64 cartridges have different kind of slots at the bottom here. which stop you from inserting it into a Nintendo 64 that is not from the Japan region. Some people may not have seen that sort of thing before. Otherwise, we also, again, have that controller pack. This may not be the original one, but still what you would expect to find in there originally. And it even comes with stickers, which this is kind of a generic white sticker that would come with a generic controller pack. And you can, write whichever games had saves on here. But this, here are actually two different types of stickers that you could have put on there instead, where you can put your name and you would be able to remember just what that controller pack was used for. In this case being to save some data from Doubutsu no Mori. Over here, we have the instructions for the controller pack. Nothing too exciting. We have some instructions for, being safe when you play your games. Unplug your AC adapter from the wall when you're not using it. Don't wrap the cord around like that. Always handle the plug by the rubber part there. Pretty basic stuff. Here we have some information for, staying healthy while playing your games. Always sit back a certain distance when you're playing them. Make sure the room is lit up. If you're playing for long periods of time, try and take about a 10 to 15 minute break every hour that you're playing. Does anybody actually do that? I mean, I understand if you're playing like the Virtual Boy, but I don't think anyone actually takes that advice when they're playing console games. This right here talks about the special data that is included on the memory card when you originally bought it. And like I said, there's probably not too many memory cards that actually include this data still, but what it says is that in a present which is attached to a letter, you get a lucky bag. And lucky bags are these things in Japan, usually sold around New Year's, where you buy it and then you open it up, and depending on what kind of store you bought it from, like you might buy it from a PC store, you'll usually get some random PC items in it and such, and video game stores and things do it too. In this case though, it says that attached to the lucky bag you will get here, where is that information located again? You will get 1 music track and 2 Famicom titles, which you can enjoy back at your house. And I'm assuming that those, would probably be randomized just exactly which ones you would get. But that's neat that, you buy the game and you get a kind of little bonus like that attached to it. But unfortunately, like I said, it can only be used once. So there probably aren't too many memory cards that still have that original data intact. This is something that you could expect to see back in the day when you bought a Nintendo 64 game. I guess they felt like because the Nintendo 64 controller was a little complicated, even, English games often included a diagram that explained what each of the buttons did, which is pretty cool. And inside, we get a sightseeing guide, just giving you some, information on the different things that you can do, explore around the village. And, of course, a very nice looking, I must admit, instruction guide. And that's not like a smudge up there, those are, shooting stars. Just very nice all around. We're not going to go through every single page. I used to do that. When I unbox something, we would read like every page. And people are like, why are you spending all day going through the instruction manual? But just overall, very nice. There is actually a spot at the back here where we can, where it gives you to write down the days that different events occur, which is kind of cool. Like here we have the spring big athletics festival, which is pretty cool. And, it says to fill in some other ones yourself. Just all around, I think that the Nintendo 64 version of Animal Crossing is just very nice looking. Just, again, the aesthetic, the kind of postcard theme that they were going for, really nice. And now, I think what we're going to do is we're going to look at the GameCube release and unbox that. So here is the 2003 GameCube release in Japan. Of course, the 64 version that we just looked at being released in 2001, and then the version that we got in North America being released in 2002. There was also a 2002 Japanese release. So this is actually the 3rd version of the original Animal Crossing game that was released. And we got KK down here saying, even better, plus, because I mean originally, of course, the original GameCube release was supposed to be the better version of the 64 version, and this is like the better version, I suppose, adding in mainly that e-reader functionality, as well as, of course, also emphasizing the fact you can hook up a Game Boy Advance to it and even download some games to it and things. But I mean, there were some of these features were also included in the original Japanese GameCube release as well. And it noting here, in a village filled with fun, live with those the friends who you love. So again, I mean, it's funny because it's kind of, you don't see that whole postcard theme that you definitely saw with the original one being heavily emphasized anymore. It definitely feels like after the 64 version, they weren't so worried about that anymore. It was more about the, living in the village with your friends rather than it was sending mail to people. And if we look on the list over here, it tells us in the Doubutsu no Mori E Plus set, we are going to get the card reader plus card E Plus set. And this set, everything that's included in here also comes with an instruction manual. We get the Doubutsu no Mori E Plus software. We get the card e-reader plus device. And we get the card E Plus 12 cards, and of those 12, 6 of which are actually Animal Crossing related. So without further ado, let us actually crack this thing open. Here's an example of what you can expect to inside. This one not in as nice of shape as the other one. They were both bought second-hand, so you know, you take what you can get, I suppose, but still not too bad in there. Let us, oh, and we of course, you know, get, even on the flaps, even, that's one thing I've even noticed about when you open up Japanese games sometimes, is they always like to put pictures on the flaps too. So, you know, the whole unboxing experience is just fun, and we're really, I think, losing that these days as things go more digital, unfortunately. So we got the software, which we don't want to fall out there, but just, I love how small and cool looking Japanese GameCube games are. We got a piece of cardboard which holds this in place. Here we have the e-reader and we have some instructions, and is that everything in the box? I feel like we are still missing something. Haha! We are actually still missing some things. Here we have a piece of paper telling us a little bit about what we need to, how we need to use the e-reader, and of course some e-reader cards. And what's this? Oh, this is actually the price tag from when I bought it during my 2017 trip to Japan. It's funny because one thing that Japanese price stickers sometimes do is we have the original suggested retail price here, back when it was released on this date, 2003, June 27th, and when I bought it, I got it for 1,200 yen. So that's just kind of a tidbit. That's not something you'll normally find in the box if you buy this. And where should we start? I guess we'll start with the game itself. And for those who have not seen Japanese GameCube games before, they are quite different in size and just appearance to, you know, what we got in the West. And I guess another thing I should also mention is that it doesn't say anything on here about including a memory card. It does mention down here, however, that 57 blocks are required. But people who bought the GameCube version of Animal Crossing will know that it actually included a memory card specifically for you to use with the game, because back then, GameCube memory cards did not have very much space, so I guess they figured it would be unfair to make you have to go out and buy one. So Western copies of Animal Crossing actually included the memory card, but this one does not appear to do that, probably because by the time 2003 came around, I think that bigger memory cards were available, so they didn't see the need to do that anymore. But yeah, this is just a really nice copy of the game, and of course, Japanese GameCube games, they have Japanese title on one side, and then English title on the other side. And this is just a cardboard sleeve, which you can slide off. And you got a nice little plastic case here. If you own the Game Boy Player, you'll be familiar with cases that look like this. And we got the instruction manual and stuff in there. We get the disc, and this actually has a memory card in it, but I don't think it was included. I think that when whoever traded this in and then I bought it accidentally maybe didn't take the memory card out, and I don't think I've ever actually checked to see what's on there. Maybe someone's, you know, incredible town that they spent, you know, thousands of hours on. Maybe someday we'll have to look into that. That might actually be kind of cool. But that is the game. Then, of course, you also get the e-reader Plus. Now, one thing that needs to be noted about the e-reader Plus is that in Japan, there were 2 versions of the e-reader, and the original one did not have link cable compatibility, so you could not use the e-reader with other games. So you couldn't use it with Super Mario Advance 4, you couldn't use it to connect with Animal Crossing because there was no link cable port on the top. Basically, you would plug this into your Game Boy, and whatever cards you swiped, that was the information that you were playing with. So like you would play you know, like the NES titles, you would swipe them in and play them right on this, but there was no connectivity with other games. So that's what the e-reader Plus adds in, and it's really cool that this set includes that, and you know, I got all this for just 1,200 yen. So if you're looking for a Japanese e-reader Plus, it's a bundle to definitely keep your eye out for. This right here, I was actually very confused by what this was originally, but if we read this little flyer which comes with it, it shows which it is for using with the e-reader if you are going to try using it with the Game Boy Advance SP, which the e-reader does not always fit nicely into. It also gives us some other tips, you know, keep it away from children and not to swipe your card too fast, or else, you know, it's not going to read properly. Otherwise, of course, e-reader instruction manual. I don't think we need to spend too much time on that. And it also includes, as mentioned on the box, 12 Animal Crossing cards. That's rather 12 e-reader cards, 6 of which are Animal Crossing related, and by swiping these into the game, they will come and visit your town and do all sorts of things. But I will just quickly look through all these, and of course, you know, you can look on the back. and get some information about them. Tells you what they like and their quote, and their clothes and such. So there's that, and then there's also some pamphlets here for the Pokemon e-reader cards and for the Animal Crossing e-reader cards. We got an air hockey e-reader card, a Manhole Game & Watch e-reader card, and then some Pokemon e-reader cards. The e-reader is just so cool. I think that it's such a shame it didn't really do too well in North America, but if you like the e-reader, there are lots of cards in Japan which never came here. And with that, I think that is, the unboxing of the GameCube and Nintendo 64 versions of Animal Crossing. I think it's just so neat seeing how different the series kind of began in North America, and everything is very streamlined these days. It seems like once I finally, got to a point where I can very easily play games in Japanese, everything is released in both regions at the same time now. So it's not like I can play things, a year before everyone else. So it's just, it's so cool to instead look back at before everything was always being localized and seeing the differences that Animal Crossing had before it became the staple Nintendo series that it is today. So with that said, I hope that you enjoyed seeing this. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing, and I hope that you'll join me next time when we look at something different. So thanks, and by the way, if you're one of the ones picking up Animal Crossing this week, I hope that you have tons of fun with it. So thanks, and see you later. Thank you so much once again for taking the time to check out my content. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, as it helps my channel grow, and I also have a Patreon page where everything that I receive goes towards making the quality of my work even better. So thanks again, and hope to see you next time.